Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And on this week's episode we are joined by special guest Hadriegon. How's it going, Hadriegon?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. You know, it's amazing to be on the Hunter Association podcast, and we've got a great batch of episodes today.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm excited to talk about these. And speaking of, on this week's episode, we will be talking about Hunter x Hunter 1999 episodes 10 through 12, which covers roughly chapters 12 to 15 or so of the manga. Not a very big batch because we have a decent amount of filler in here. Almost pretty much a whole filler episode, I would say. At least an episode's worth of content.
Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about, for sure.
Yes. Then, of course, we will be going through our community comments. If you'd like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version, either on the video or on the community post. Also, by the way, we just learned this week that you can comment on Spotify. We had no idea. We just learned that we have comments on there, and we have now started reading them. So if you want to read them, or if you want to write in to the show on Spotify, go ahead and do that. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are live, click the bell to enable notifications. If you're an audio listener, make sure to rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at just THAPod, for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you'd like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we provided timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments. All right, Hadriegon, you're the man of the hour. So, before we get into Hunter x Hunter talk, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your channel and yourself?
For me, I'm a Hunter x Hunter fan, of course. My channel originally started as a Naruto channel, and that's sort of how I got into Hunter x Hunter. It's just always had this reputation in the anime community of being the absolute best that shonen has to offer. So I cover everything Hunter x Hunter. Lots of characters which aren't really talked about that much. Like I'll do character analysis on characters like Welfin, Pakunoda. I try to be as much of like a Hunter x Hunter library of information that, you know, covers a large range of different things. And yeah, that's sort of, you know, how the channel came to be. I didn't really expect to become a Hunter x Hunter channel, but the more and more I fall in love with it, the more and more my channel just becomes Hunter x Hunter.
Right on, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love how you do videos on like smaller characters. Like the video you did on Ikalgo always stood out to me. I love that. It's so cool.
I love Akalgo. He's the best.
He's the best, yeah. So now we'll talk exclusively about Hunter x Hunter, and starting with the first question. How did you get into Hunter x Hunter initially?
Well, as a Naruto fan, Hunter x Hunter's always been like the series that's inspired Kishimoto. So I've always had that initial intrigue. But I've got to say the poster of Hunter x Hunter 2011 was always a bit off-putting. Because I was like, man, this kind of looks a bit like a children's show with all the puzzle pieces in the background. But in fact, everyone I knew was talking about it, and I felt like I was missing out, so I binge watched it, and my life's not been the same ever since.
That's a 2011 moment if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
And how about your favorite character?
It's really tough to give a favorite character, but it's Gone Freaks. I mean, I think he's probably the best MC in manga in general. I think his subtle transformation, and not the sense that of how he's suddenly changing the Chimera Antok, but the fact that you can see the signs all the way through, and we're getting to gradually know him more and more. I thought it was so well done, and it felt so natural and smooth. And the fact that we had such a polar opposing contrast, and it didn't feel jarring or off-putting, really shows how much Togashi is a master writer.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. That's a great pick. That's I think
Yeah.
you're the third one to have picked him so far, and that's for good reason. I mean, yeah, that's the main character. He's the best.
Very respectable.
And do you have a favorite moment in the series?
This is out of all the questions. This is by far always the hardest one.
Yep.
And it always changes throughout all the different moments. I think that at the moment, although it's going to change tomorrow, my favorite moment is probably in Greed Island in the dodgeball game. I just love that moment of resourcefulness where Gon, Killua, and of course Hisoka are all working together. That was really the moment that felt like really a gratification or a salute to shonen anime. It felt like the most shonen moment in Hunter x Hunter, and it's just a level of excitement in that moment which is absolutely ecstatic. And whilst it doesn't come to the raw emotions as other moments, or really great writing as others, just a pure excitement and pure just feeling like you're attached to the characters. For me, that's probably my high point in the series.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fan favorite moment. That's just one of the best moments in the series, and it's such like a defining moment for the series that anytime you reflect
Yeah.
on it, your head always ends up going to that dodgeball scene. It's just so good.
That's a really great perspective on just like the presentation of that moment as well. Just like, yeah, that is like shonen in a nutshell, right? Like just that entire
Yeah.
moment, in time. So
Yeah,
really good.
absolutely. And is your favorite arc anything other than Chimera Ant?
Actually, it is. And this is
Okay.
quite an unpopular pick, but I think my favorite arc is the Succession War. Even though it's not a completed arc, I really do love how experimental Togashi is being. It's something that's really quite unheard of that this late in Togashi's career, he's getting an arc with a scope so large it's unimaginable. All these characters, all these plot lines, all these threads going along, and it feels like it's all been done so masterfully because if it wasn't done well, it would have felt very jarring and we wouldn't really be engaged. And here we are all engaged in characters which, relatively to the entirety of the series, are quite new. So I think that's, definitely my favorite arc so far.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I always hesitate to say it myself just because it's incomplete, but it's undeniably such an incredible accomplishment in writing, even as an unfinished product. It is just unbelievable what he's accomplished with this.
Absolutely. And I respect the confidence you have in just like saying that like outright right now, even, it being incomplete as it is right now.
Yeah.
So, very respectable.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, we very much love that arc here too, so
Yes.
you are in good company. All right, well, with that, we could talk about news, but unfortunately there really isn't anything. We
I
had
was say
that.
what
Yeah.
news?
There's like the one tweet you said, I guess, of
they
and then
showcased
Impact.
they showcased some mission thing in then Impact where like you have to do like a touch of death combo essentially as Gon, which is kind of cool. But they're just going all in with the insaneness of that game. But that's about it though. I got nothing.
Yep, that's about it. So, I guess with that, guys, we're just ready to talk about 99.
Yeah, I'm ready. There's gonna be a lot to talk about today, so
Yes.
let's go ahead and get into it.
For sure.
All right. All right, everybody, welcome to our coverage of Hunter x Hunter 99, episodes 10 through 12. And before we even start, I want to give a quick shout out to a listener of ours named Xander, who just recently started watching along with us for the 99 watch through, and he sent us a very nice email giving us a much better way to watch 99. It is a fan remaster that I knew existed, but I'm not very adept in like torrenting and that kind of business, so I didn't think I would possibly be able to get it. But it's on Internet Archive, so you can just download the episodes straight from there. So that is now how I am watching. I'm not sure if you took advantage of that, Dylan.
This week specifically, I kept with the YouTube version just out of convenience and just, where I was able to watch the episodes this week. But going forward, I will be using the Internet Archive version as well, though. So I encourage everybody else to do the same as well because the quality is very, very nice from what I've seen.
Yes, it's very good looking, and it's just nice to be able to watch with the opening and ending every episode and like the next episode preview. It felt like something was missing before, and now I got it, so it's nice. Okay, real quick, before we get into the episodes, we got to talk about the ending. We have not talked about it yet. We kept saying every week that we would, but we got to do it now. We finally watched it.
We did.
So, Dylan, what did you think of the first ED here?
It's very Mito focused, and that was not something I was expecting necessarily.
Yeah.
But it was very, very good though. Like I love the song of the ED. especially. And just the overall visuals in general were just really, really nice. I don't know, very like soothing kind of ED almost.
Yeah, it's really relaxing and just nice to look at. It's basically just a bunch of environmental shots with Mito being, I think, the only character you see, right?
She's the only character.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I like the approach. It's just a good reminder of where we started at the end of every episode, I think. You got any thoughts on this,
It's a great concept
Hadriegon?
too. Yeah, it's a great concept too. The fact that we're going into Mito's perspective and we're seeing this loneliness she's developing as she's missing Gon. And I really do find it's beautiful that at the end of every episode, we're going back and seeing the fact that Mito is missing Gon. I think it's quite cute and charming.
Yeah, it's
Very
really
cute.
nice. I think that's a really cool idea. And I know we have multiple endings for the 99 series, so this will change at some point, I believe. I'm not exactly sure when.
Which means we gotta remind ourselves to watch the new ones. At
Well,
some point.
if we keep up with this version of it, we'll just be able to see it as it comes.
true.
So
That's true.
that will be convenient. All right. Anything
very
else to say
90s.
about that before we move on?
It's just very, very 90s ED in general too. I just need to point
It
that
is.
out. Like,
Yeah.
it's the aesthetic is just, pure 90s. I love it.
Yeah, the song too is definitely very of the time, like anime ending. It's very good too. All right, so these episodes, we got episodes 10 through 12 this time, roughly adapting. I already said this, but it's like chapter 12 to 15, just about.
Yep.
We left off last time with Menchi failing everybody in her exam, and we pick up right there where they are all kind of just like, there's no way this can be happening right now. Obviously, people are calling her out and trying to get something to change here, but she is not budging because, I mean, that's Menchi for you.
She's girl bossing.
She absolutely is. So how does it work? She like calls somebody, right? Or no, somebody who calls her? I can't even remember.
It was Beans that called her.
Oh yeah, it was Beans. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is this our first look at him or is that later? No, that's later.
No, this is our first look.
Oh, is
Pretty
it?
sure this
Does it
episode.
cut to
Yeah.
him?
I think so.
Well, regardless of if it happens in this moment, we have to talk about Beans.
Oh, it was this
Okay,
episode,
they
yeah.
cut to him.
Eventually,
yeah.
like after this whole thing, with her talking to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so Beans is white. It's very jarring and not pleasant to look at, I will say.
Okay, call it like it is, Kaige. He's a thing of nightmares.
He really is. I'm not a fan, I gotta say.
It just looks weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just 2011 bias, like with me like starting with that, him being like green, obviously, but like it's a little different, right? But it's so weird.
I really don't even know what the truth is because I don't know if Togashi himself has ever colored Beans. I mean, I'm sure he's colored in the colored manga, but that's not Togashi doing it. So I really don't know what his color is supposed to be, like, canonically. But
yeah, I got nothing on that. It's off-putting, to say the
it
least.
certainly is, yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, I was just gonna say, in any case, though, aside from white beans, we're seeing a lot of Menchi this episode specifically, which I absolutely love. I love Menchi. This episode reminded me how cool she is, just as a whole.
Yeah, she really is just awesome. I love this, the moment whenever she's like, people are starting to drag her down and she's just kind of leaning on the couch and she's got the knives like dangling from the back.
Yeah, that shot was so cool. It was so hard.
It's really cool. She's ready to go.
It really is awesome, just her self-confidence and the charisma she has. She's just always ready to go at any moment. And you get this sort of, this feeling that this is Menchi's world and we're just living in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. She just radiates confidence. That's so cool. So yeah, it's, the whole thing about just everybody kind of getting on her ass about failing, and then she wants to prove herself as a capable hunter, even though she's just a gourmet hunter. So this is when she goes out to hunt. What even was this thing called?
It was like black bear something. There's some other adjective in there. I don't remember exactly, to be honest
just
with you.
big black bear with horns. And it is so like it's like pitch black. Like you almost can't even see it in this. But she fights that, and that that's just typical 99 fashion so far. Everything that's dark is like unbelievably dark.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay. Well, so she goes and fights this thing because she wants like shavings off of its horns, because it's like some spice.
Yeah, it's a specific moss. It's like basically like a garnish. Yeah.
Yeah, and she brings that back, and she puts it over rice and has Gon try it. And apparently it's kind of whatever, but...
They said it was unusual. I think that was his wording.
It's like nothing special, really, but...
Like, not bad, but not great. It doesn't taste great, anyways.
Yeah. So, I mean, it still proved the point, I suppose. This is not in the manga, by the way. This is a... anime original scene here. I kind of fail to understand what the point of this really was. It's a cute enough scene. Like I didn't hate it or anything or mind it, but didn't really add a whole lot to anybody. Maybe I guess to Menchi just seeing her in action.
I think it adds to just the concept of gourmet hunters in general, which I feel like wasn't really elaborated on as much as maybe it should have been when it was presented as a concept. I kind of appreciate it for that. Just kind of like a tighter glimpse into their world specifically.
I think it's also to do with the power scaling thing. This was to show us that no matter what type of hunter you are on this higher echelon that all the other applicants are trying to get to. And also the moments in this series right now are just showing how much the hunters are able to be so good at so many different things. So it's showing just the versatility of what it means to be a hunter.
Yeah. That makes sense. I guess it's just kind of showing rather than telling, because in the manga we still get this information. It's just kind of said to us, but showing it's definitely not a bad approach either. I think it's pretty effective.
Kind of needed for an anime presentation as well, don't you think?
Yeah, it helps.
But I mean, like, that was the entire point of the episode also, though, was just, like, showing gourmet hunters are just as capable because of, what was the guy's name? Toto, right? Like, he was just, like, all in, like, food is food. Like, I don't care. I don't give a damn about gourmet hunters. And the whole episode's about teaching him a lesson, essentially.
Yeah, Toto's kind of one of the focuses here. He also got kind of a bigger focus in the 2011 adaptation, too, which I do enjoy. It's still the same role as he has in the manga. I just feel it feels more prominent in both of the anime versions to me. This whole thing about Toto kind of being very self-centered and not respecting the people around him. He even gets the eye catch of this episode, which surprised me.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. That was weird, to be honest with you.
It was. So, jumping ahead a little bit, we have Netero coming in, of course.
Dude, when he picked up, like, the orange juice or whatever with his feet,
yes.
so hard.
That was awesome.
Transitioning from that, though, Netero is really cool in this anime adaptation. He's basically the exact same character as you would expect Netero to be, but, like, that's all you need.
Yeah, I love his entrance. I love his look. I mean, the orange is an adjustment. It is quite bold, but I think it looks good. It's not bad. It's just different.
Yeah, I agree.
And the voice, I have no complaints. I think this is a really good voice. Obviously, it's not, I can't, it's weird because I can't exactly imagine, like, Chimera Ant Netero with this voice, but that's just because, I mean, this voice actor never got to do it. So I'm sure he would have done a good job, but I can't help but think and compare to the 2011 version of his voice. But it's good. I like it.
He sounds like a funny old man. That's enough for me.
He does, yeah.
I love how dramatic it is of him too. Like, he looks all younger, and everything he does just has more like effects around it. And I really love the fact that they adapted that scene of him, of course, in the Hunter Association, then heading over. It sort of builds his tension, and he arrives like this absolute superhero leaving a crater in the ground.
I
Really
will
just
say that
changes the moods.
yeah, and that reminds me, the music that played as he was like kind of making his entrance was really stood out to me too. Like, whoa, this is like intense compared to the soundtrack for like, the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it really makes him feel like the big deal that he is, and I think that's extremely cool. The crater is awesome. I loved that. Everybody just being like, how is this even possible?
Yeah, he's a superhuman.
So he drops in and just kind of lectures Menchi. They also, something I also appreciate, which I never really liked in both the manga and the 2011 version, where he kind of like mentions that Menchi's cute. In the 2011 version, he just like straight up looks at her boobs. But in the manga, I don't know why the hell they added that, but I'm glad that is not present in any capacity here, because that's never felt like Netero to me. That was definitely a very early Netero portrayal that didn't stick.
Yeah, I was gonna say he backtracked on that pretty much immediately. So
Yeah.
like, you don't think about that moment often, but like, yeah, it's there in the other adaptations.
It is, yeah. It's not as bad. Like in the manga, he literally just like has a little thought bubble that's like, oh wow, she's cute. It's not as bad, but 2011 then makes it way worse. Whatever. But I thought that was cool that it's just not there at all, even though they had really no real reason to remove it, because it's not like they knew future Netero knowledge at this point, because there really wasn't anything else to know about him. But a cool change nonetheless.
That being said, in a later episode, though, we still get another moment with Menchi.
Well, we'll get to that. They just couldn't help themselves, I guess.
No, they couldn't. But moving on with this episode, though, we eventually, like, this leads into Netero basically talking Menchi down about like, hey, you probably shouldn't be failing all these applicants based off of your judgment here.
Yeah,
probably not the right call. Which eventually leads to basically a retest of Phase 2.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is to boil an egg. Not just any egg. It is the spider eagle egg, right?
Eagle.
Spider eagle.
Hey, yep. I got that from memory. So they fly up on the airship to this big mountain, and she demonstrates first that you have to dive into this like ravine kind of thing. With a bunch of webs on it, with eggs dangling from them. You gotta go down, grab it, and then climb back up. So, Dylan, this is probably your first time seeing this version of this test, because in 2011, there is a big wind current that will push you up. That's the gimmick they added there.
Yeah, this version seems way more dangerous. There's nothing like that. It's like, yeah, you balance on these tiny little webs, thin webs, and you climb back up or you fall into the river below.
Yeah.
Like, wow, a little cruel, I think. That will also, as Menchi put it, it'll basically wash you out to sea like kilometers away in an instant. So like, how do they survive that? Like that seems a little much.
They might not. But now, in 2011's defense, though, they still do make it seem dangerous, because the people that don't like grab the webs and stuff, they just kind of fall forever. I don't even know what they land on, if there even is water at the bottom. So it's just a different portrayal, but I don't really have problems with the 2011 version of it. It's just kind of like, why
it's
did
just
we
different.
do that? Yeah.
But this version was cool though. It's at its core still the exact same test for the most part. Just slight change in detail. And yeah, it was fun. It was very short. It was much shorter than I remembered it being. And that could be because it's been a while since I've really seen this part of the series, right? But it only lasted a couple minutes or so. That entire test of like actually retrieving the egg. And there was a small detail that was added for the test after the eggs were retrieved. But it was good fun. Spider eagles are cool.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's one of those things where I just don't understand why 2011 added that change in the first place. So it's good to see that this bit like went by more swiftly. Because as Dylan was saying, it actually did take place over a longer period of time in 2011.
Yeah.
I just feel that this wasn't that important to put that much screen time on, so it was good to see the pacing being pretty good.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the second phase has always been by far the shortest phase of the exam, and to actually see it as that is nice. And it wasn't like super insanely long in 2011, but it definitely did feel a little dragged out. So we move on here. They all get the eggs. Obviously, not every single participant because a lot of them fall and die, presumably. But a good chunk of them get the eggs, and they start to boil them.
Which that is the other change that I've noticed, at least according to Hunterpedia, is that they changed it from the manga and that the participants actually have to like boil the eggs themselves as part of the test. Like
Oh, is that
basically,
right?
if they, at least according to Hunterpedia in the manga, like that part wasn't there, and that like if they overboil it or underboil it, then they fail the test or whatever. I think it was just like
No, you're right.
it was boiled for them.
Yeah, you're totally right. I overlooked that. Yeah, it's still, they put it in the pot, but yeah, there's no like risk of failing. It's just kind of like, yeah, she boils them for them, and that's it.
Not that it mattered because Buhara kind of clued everybody in immediately.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they added stakes and then removed them, which is a little odd.
It made for a funny scene.
Buhara the
like,
goats.
Yeah.
Menchi giving Buhara the death stare.
He did that totally on purpose. So yeah, they eat the eggs. They're good apparently. I'd love to try one. They should make a Hunter x Hunter cookbook. That'd be sick.
Oh,
That'd be amazing.
I'd love that.
And of course, Toto, he gets to try a bite of Gones. And he's like, wow, my life has changed. I love gourmet hunters.
I will take the exam next year.
Yep.
And I my headcanon is that he comes back the next year wanting to be a gourmet hunter instead of a blacklist hunter.
Yeah, but then he gets one shot by Killua anyways. So
Yeah, wait, Killua does take that test.
yeah.
Poor Toto.
I really loved that moment for Godo because it really did feel like the end of his character arc, and it also established on another theme that I was playing throughout this episode, but just a sense of anxiety and the feelings of self-worth. Like at the beginning of the episode, you've got Gon absolutely begging Menchi, like, please, let me have another chance. And you've got Killua who's uninterested, and you've got Godo who's been super egotistical. So it's really good to see the fact that he had been changed and he's found this new appreciation as that was just this plot line that I was weaving to try to give us, the audience, and Godo an appreciation for the gourmet hunter.
Yeah, I think it's super effective. I've always really liked that little moment with him, just learning to respect something that he didn't have any respect for whatsoever. It's just a nice little message.
Yeah, nice little message indeed.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we end off. All the winners move on, they get on the airship, and we start moving into the third phase. We're kind of in the transitional period here.
Yeah,
and
that was episode 10, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I liked it.
Pretty solid, yeah. I thought
Great
this was
episode.
I would much rather watch this version of the second phase compared to the 2011 version. I think this is a much better adaptation, and it moves a lot better to me.
Yeah, better pacing, just
Pacing's
kind
a lot
of
better.
just an easier time to watch. More Menchi is great.
Yes.
I love Menchi. Yeah, can't really complain. It was good.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's like a cool little moment of levity. Like, there's really no stakes, anything major, at least. I mean, yeah, you can fall to your death, but we know the main characters aren't going to do that, so who really cares? It's just a bunch of schmucks that fall to their death.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
So that brings us to episode 11, which right off the bat, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is new. We have, and also right off the bat, I want to say, damn, the animation this episode's crazy. This was, whoever directed this one's like a visionary. This is very solid direction.
Visionary.
I'm serious. This is extremely good animation and direction. I loved watching this episode. But yeah, go ahead.
I need to ask for your opinion that when the episode started and you saw immediately just like, oh, this is not in the manga, like with the introduction of like the character entering the ship, right? What was the first thought that went through your head? Like, did you think this was just going to be like radically different than, what ended up happening, I guess, in actuality?
I really didn't know, because I also had the benefit of watching the next episode preview, because I'm watching this new version.
Oh, right.
But in that next episode preview, it really only shows the filler stuff. So I kind of was like, damn, are we just like doing this and not the Netero thing? Like, are we just gonna do this whole filler plot line and we're gonna skip the ball thing? I wasn't really sure what was going on here, but it turns out the two plot lines are kind of intertwined with each other, which is it's a mixed bag. We'll get into it. There's things I like about it, things I really don't. But
it's really like just talking about it in general before we get into the specifics of the episode. It really is like showing me how much they love to like put the filler stuff, like have that be intertwined with like the main like canonical plot lines that happen.
Yeah.
They love just intertwining that stuff. It's so interesting.
Yeah, the motto of this adaptation seems to be expanding. They just want to make everything like bigger and longer. Which, for better or for worse, we've seen examples of both so far. I'm curious to see how it holds up going forward. But yeah, let's get into talking about this example of it. And before we even talk about that, though, I want to talk about this little Beans animation moment that I thought was awesome. His like face kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. It like squishes,
wobbles.
Yeah, it's I love it. That was such a good little animation moment.
His face is all fat and muscle.
Yeah, it's very funny. I love Beans, even if he is very disturbing in this adaptation. So we have
need to make that into a GIF.
Oh my god, that'd be a great GIF. Yeah,
it would.
Should.
Someone get on that right now if it has.
Yes, please, somebody. So we have obviously the little thing. Real quick, the Tompa moment where he's trying to tell Kurapika and Leorio that this might be the test right now. And they just do not believe him at all.
This is the funny part now of 99 doing what it did, like with like revealing Tompa to be really schemy, like right out the gate, right? It's just like you don't believe anything he says anymore from now on. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And we also have Gon and Killua kind of exploring the ship. A lot of this is filler as well. I mean, we're just kind of in filler territory at the moment. But it's not bad. I mean, they're just kind of exploring the ship. They go into like the pilot's room and mess with him for a second, but Gon really doesn't want to. Killua's like that one friend you had as a kid that like is always getting into trouble and he's just dragging you along with him.
It was a very cute scene. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's really funny. Gon like actually sulks in a corner because of it. He's so upset.
Like I got in trouble. But throughout all their exploring though, Killua keeps sensing something that's like following them almost. Very interesting.
Yes. And before we get to what that is, there is a scene of all the proctors kind of talking about the participants this year. Nothing crazy notable to talk about here. I mean, this is in the manga as well. It's just them talking about, namely Hisoka is like the big talking point because he's he has that, what's the word? Like he's got that, he was in last year. What do you call that? Like they know him already. The notoriety, I guess.
He's like he's like
Something
a veteran.
Like yeah, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, he's obviously, there's something to him that the other participants don't have.
A lot of bloodlust. Like they put it in a cool way, I think, where they basically said like where everyone else would pump on the brakes, he would just step on the gas more.
Yeah. Very good.
And then all the chords fall dramatically.
Yep. Classic.
But they also talk about Hanzo,
and Killua.
Yeah.
Yep.
So kind of just noting all the notable applicants so far for this exam.
Yeah. Then we're going back to Gon and Killua, and we have, a nice little scene with them by the window. A classic. We're talking about their lives. Killua, mentions the fact that he is from a family of assassins, and the classic Gon where he's just like, all of them? And that's the only thing he thinks about.
All of
them. So good. And yeah, it's just a really cute conversation. Gon ends up telling him like something about his dad, right? Is that here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it too because it's so beautiful. Like in the background, you've
Yeah.
got just the reflection of the city down below, and you've got Killua, and you can sort of see Killua through the reflection. So
Yeah.
it's sort of artistic in the way you see his face, and I love that moment so much that Killua is trying to assess Gon. Like, okay, I'm clearly close to Gon, but can I really trust him? And I found that this episode was really the moment where in '99 they bonded and became inseparable.
100%. Yeah, it's a very effective scene. It is broken up by the Watcher, as we'll call her currently. Somebody
the
who's
Watcher.
stalking the Watcher. Yeah.
She has a badge on her, though, which is interesting.
Yes, and she leaves behind an earring on a plant somehow. How in the hell does that even happen?
That like, imagine somebody walking up to you and probably be like, "Hey, I left my like earring on a plant. Like, over there. Can you go check that for me?" Like, what? Are you high? Like,
Yeah, I don't know how she managed to do that, but hey, that's what happened. Killua picks it up and he's noticing something about it. There's definitely something going on with that earring. From there on out, he's kind of down. He's kind of glum. He's not really acting himself. Gon's trying to like break through to him, but it's just not working out. And then this is where I got like a little confused because as soon as he got that earring, I was like, okay, so is this gonna be a thing where we gotta like find the person that has the other earring? We gotta track her down. But then immediately she just walks up to their table. All right. I mean, why'd she even leave the earring to begin with then? What was the point?
I think that it was a way of building tension because the moment she sits down on the table, it's sort of like we know that Killua notices that she's got one of the earrings on. So it gives us like sort of dynamic where only her and Killua know what's going on, and Killua like immediately turns away from her, and it gives this really interesting like it's almost like a triangle where they're having their own conversation and everyone else is just not in on it, and it's kind of a bit fun.
Okay, yeah. That's a good way to look at it, actually.
fair enough.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, and it does work. It's a pretty interesting scene at the very least, and we also have, while this is going on, Menchi and the other proctors are talking about how somebody snuck onto the ship, a participant who failed, and that is Anita here, which we learn is her name.
Anime only character.
Yes, and she, I don't know if it's this episode or next episode, but she actually gets the eye catch too, which really threw me off. We got a whole filler character eye catch.
I don't remember which one either.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's there.
So she explains that she is looking to avenge her father, who was killed by the Zoldyck family. Don't know which one killed him. Doesn't really matter. But
She just wants revenge.
yeah, and they talked obviously before this, and Killua already knew what was going on, but obviously that's whenever it clicks for Gon, where he's like, okay, well, something's up here with Killua. And then we have Leorio coming in, and this is another great Leorio moment. He's like flirting with her, basically.
Like standing up for his friends, but also like trying to get laid at the same time.
Yeah, he's got an ulterior motive here. But it's also, he gives that little thumbs up signal, so it's like, Yeah. I love that moment. That's a really cool thing he did there. And Kurapika also coming in. He doesn't really do a whole lot here, to be honest, but he's there. He's there in spirit.
He is there. Killua also gives Anita like a crazy eye look at some point during this.
Oh yeah.
They I love the 99's like approach with like just like having these random shots of Killua just being the most like psychotic person alive.
Yeah, they really go all in on that side of him. It's also a very I like how they portray it in this. I mean, we'll get to talk about it more later, obviously, but it's really like you can feel that switch, of like killer mode coming out.
What makes it so effective here too is again, it's kind of just very sudden too. Whenever it does happen, and it's for a very short amount of time as well. They don't linger on it. It kind of just leaves you like with the confused feeling, as if you were like a character in the presence of Killua in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about this scene is just the emotional roller coaster. We see that Killua's flip has switched and he's ready to kill Anita. And all of a sudden, Leorio comes just flirting with Anita. And it's just this really just wild swing of emotions.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is peak.
Yeah, it's very good. I did. This is probably my favorite part of the episode. I really enjoyed this whole conversation. Yeah, that roller coaster of emotions is a great way to put it. You really do experience like the full range of emotion during this conversation, which culminates, by the way, in Anita just straight up going at Killua with a knife. She's ready to kill, but Netero jumps in and stops the knife. And
Killua was like, "Don't stop her." Let her
yeah,
do it.
yeah. But Netero says, like, honestly, I probably wouldn't, but she isn't even a participant anymore, so this is against the rules. So they take her away. Killua still has the earring. He didn't return it yet. And we get back to a window. We have another window conversation with a little less interesting to me. It's kind of, well, actually, you know what? No, this is pretty cool too. It's just not as impactful, I think, as the first one. But it's about, the whole Killua's like emotions, basically, about how do I even explain this? Just the fact that he is a member of an assassin family and he feels that what he needs to do is be an assassin, but it's not exactly what he wants to do.
And he's just very confused about it, and then that's when Gon comes up and is just like, hey, let me learn more about you, man. Like, I'm here for you. Killua's not having any of it. It's just that dynamic just starting to form between the two of like just like, them kind of being forced onto one another almost.
Yeah, in a good way.
I love that moments where Killua tries to strike Gon and Gon just doesn't move.
Yep.
And Killua has this instant click of realization. You see in his face, his eyes, his pupils just expand like crazy. And it gives us this powerful feeling without actually saying or doing anything. But we can physically feel the change in Killua. And later on in this episode, as we're going to get towards, that realization comes into play. So it's very satisfactory.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the highlight of that scene for sure is, just the no flinch on that. He knows he's not going to hurt him. That full confidence in him. I love that.
And then the the emotion is immediately cut through like a piece of paper with Netero scratching his butt, trying to
Oh, yeah.
my goat.
That's my goat.
I love he just comes in, he's like, oh, I'm just scratching my butt.
Yeah, he's like, my butt's itchy, and then just immediately drops it. Like, what?
What a way to barge into a conversation.
Only Netero. Is that acceptable?
Truly. So this is where we get the offer for the game, but the entire context is different, and this is what I don't like about it.
So the context is kept, but they added on to it.
I would say it reframes the whole thing, personally. Maybe you don't view it as drastically as I do, but
I think it refocuses it, but it doesn't entirely reframe it. It just, again, it's 99's obsession with adding on to things and expanding things, mainly.
I just wanted more stakes, I guess.
Yeah. Because, like, the whole entire thing with the game, I'm assuming is what you're about to talk about, they still have the thing where, like, oh, okay, yeah, if you guys win, I'll give you your hunter license.
Yeah.
Right now, and the whole emotional journey of the game for Gon especially is still going to be there. But, again, we have added stakes, which I'll let you get into now.
Yeah, so basically Netero tells them that it kind of just in casual conversation. He's like, oh yeah, Anita won't be allowed to participate in the hunter exams ever again. Gon has a problem with that, and that's when Netero proposes the idea of the ball game. We all know it. Catch the ball from me, and well, you will still get your hunter license, but instead of that, also it will let Anita, do the hunter exam again, basically.
We'll let her take the exam again next year, and we'll drop all charges against her.
Yeah. So
I actually agree with both of you on this.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you that it doesn't feel right, the recontextualization. And I think for Gon, it's a bit lame because he doesn't really know Anita, neither does he have that emotional connection. But I think for Killua's end, it's actually very good because he's seeing catching Netero as a means to see if he could actually go and catch his father, as he said earlier on in the episode. So the moment when he realizes that he can't actually get Netero, he just completely loses it. And it makes that moment of him giving up feel that much more impactful and dramatic by extension.
Yeah, that's true. But I just don't think we needed to have Anita here to convey that. Like that, the conversation that Gon had about Killua's father still would have happened without Anita being there. So I don't know.
I will also argue in favor of this approach, even further with why would Gon have any reason to try and save her? That's just Gon's character. He doesn't have to know anybody to want to help somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel like that adds to him more here in that case.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm just not personally a big fan of the fact that this was added in here, but I get it.
It wasn't needed. I'm not saying it was needed by any means, but I don't see it as a bad addition per se. But
I guess if anything, it's just kind of neutral. But I don't like it, but I don't hate it. It's just I don't know. It's what it is. But other than that, I mean, Anita is watching in the background. But other than that, it's still the same, except obviously because it's 1999, the room is the darkest thing known to man.
Yeah, I remember in 2011, this was like lights everywhere in this room, and now they're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. So the ball game happens. It's the same. Killua does whatever. I always forget the name, Shadow Walk or whatever.
This is different actually from at least 2011, because 2011 he did the whole Shadow Walk thing, but here he kind of just vanishes into darkness. He doesn't do the whole silhouettes of himself following him or whatever. He just kind of disappears.
That is true. Yeah, it's just a different portrayal of the ability. It's pretty cool though. I do like 2011's version of it more, but that's the big ender moment. He does that, and that's where the episode ends pretty much. It's looking like maybe Killua got the ball. Spoiler: he didn't though.
Yeah, no shot. So I guess what did we think about episode 11 then before we go into episode 12?
So again, I want to mention that this episode was very well directed and animated. That's the big highlight for me. I thought it just looked really nice and consistent. We got the darkness that can't be avoided with this adaptation, but I think it looked really nice. And for the most part, the filler didn't bother me. It was harmless, and it added to a little bit. We got that really good scene that we talked about. But we'll get to see the conclusion of this filler story next episode, and we'll talk about it more then. But a good start to it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you. I don't think at this point the anime only stuff was really needed per se, but I do feel like there is some there was some benefit to having it there with just expanding on Gon's portrayal, especially. I think that's mainly how I feel about it. But again, that whole table scene of Killua and Gon talking, and just the events that followed that were really good, and just overall a very well directed episode in terms of animation. So can't really complain too much.
Yeah.
For me, I think that my view of this episode is a lot like how both of your views of episode 7 was like. There's lots of things I liked, and then lots of things I didn't like. I felt like Anita plotline getting mixed into everything else felt like it sort of devalued all the other plot lines which are actually canon. But on the other end, I sort of like how the Anita plotline was relevant to each of the main characters. For Leorio, it showed us that he isn't just this man who's just hitting on a woman. He's there, working with Kurapika. She showed us, more Leorio love, as the Hunter x Hunter 99 loves to do. And I love how they really interacted with Kurapika and Killua. They had this moment where Kurapika is there is no sort of, sanity towards revenge. There is no logic behind it. So they made Kurapika sort of relate to Anita and give us... Anita was sort of a foreshadowing of what Kurapika could become. So I like that dynamic. I like the guilt with Killua that he was feeling and battling. And I also loved how, as Dylan pointed out, this just reaffirms just how good of a person Gon is. So it really makes him feel like the MC. So yeah, this is the best episode of these three for me.
Ooh, all right.
Okay. I mean, I'd probably agree with that actually, but let's let's get into the conversation about episode 12 here to really figure that out.
Yeah, I think I need to talk about episode 12 before I decide between these two for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely see it. And also, yeah, good shout on that Karapaga scene.
Yes.
Or that line that he had as Anita was kind of being taken off. Because I thought that was really good, too. Really good foreshadowing.
And I actually do want to talk a little bit more before we move on about the the scene where Gon basically gives Killua the goal of catching his father. Because we kind of glossed over that. We briefly mentioned it, but I think it's that was a really interesting moment. I think it's cool to bring some focus on Killua's dad in this moment. It's something that the two of them can relate to in some capacity early on. And it's a conversation we didn't get in the manga, and I thought that was just a neat little scene. I thought that was a good addition too.
Yeah, that was a very good scene.
Yeah.
I like just the duality of it, that they're both catching their dads, but for completely polar opposite reasons.
Exactly.
And Gon's like, yeah, Killua, you can catch your dad.
Yeah.
I just love the humor and banter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, obviously, and during that scene, Killua just takes it like totally seriously in his head. It's like, okay, I mean, catching my dad means something a lot more than what it means to Gon.
Yeah.
They're a lot different. Yeah. So anyways, episode 12 here. The title is very funny. It's good. Wait, what is it? Hold on. Good boy, bad boy, Killua. What was it?
Good boy, bad boy,
Killua. Just Killua. Good boy, bad boy, Killua. Sure.
All right.
So this episode starts awesome. The animation once again is sick as hell. It's got like the one-on-one Killua and Netero. Obviously, it's not a fight exactly. They're just kind of Killua's trying to get the ball. I don't know how else to explain what that is. And just some really nice-looking choreography, but it ends with Killua getting headbutted, and that's he's kind of down for the count for a sec. Mm-hmm. And then again, continuing with really cool direction, we have Gon jumping in, and there's this really cool cut-in of Netero's eyes, like just on the screen, just watching as Gon is running. And I thought that was sick. And that's when Gon does the high jump and hits his head on the ceiling.
That's our MC.
That's our MC. And I love the, when Netero is like, oh my god, that like honestly almost got me.
Yeah. And you see all the sweat coming from his face. It really just gives that classic 90s anime vibe.
It absolutely does, yeah. So the two of them go at it. Killua continues to take a break, but nothing too notable in this exchange, really. It's just more trying to get the ball. I guess Gon does the cool like wall kick thing. But beyond that... go ahead.
One thing I really do like about the way that this was handled is that it sort of went past the limitations in animation and budget, and it made everything feel like it was happening very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of swift cuts and a lot of really interesting camera angles and positionments.
Yeah.
And I found it was really well done in the fact that this really did feel like a massive leap forwards, and we really did feel the frantic speed and urge at which all of them are trying to get Netero.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super well done, this whole exchange here. And also... go ahead.
There was one thing I can nitpick about this game, though. There's one scene in particular. I remember it was literally like the most PowerPoint slides of all like events ever, with like Gon trying to get the ball from Netero.
Yeah.
Very early on in the episode. It was actually just like still images back to back to back to back to back.
It's bound to happen. Yeah, but this is definitely the best action sequence we've seen in this series so far. It looked really nice. Everything else we've seen up to this point, and there hasn't been much, has been very stiff. But this felt like it was moving.
Definitely, especially as we get further into the episode, I feel like.
Yeah, so, the rest of it, for the time being is the two of them, tag teaming, trying to get it to happen. A lot of failures, a lot of cool moments, notable things like throwing his shoe at the ball, so he doesn't catch it, and Killua does like the leg lock, which I really like.
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter because Netero is the GOAT, and
Yeah,
he does that thing where he like pushes like off the ground, leaves like an indent in the floor to get to the ball.
Yeah, on the wall actually.
Or it was on the wall. It was on the wall.
Yeah, and that's what sets Killua off because what we know was probably a use of Nen, which Killua doesn't know at that point either, but he knows the feeling, and he doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very, very well done, as Hadriegon was talking about earlier. This is a fantastic scene here. He's just that instant, like his face completely drops, his attitude changes, he's like shaking, and he's like, I'm done. And he just like runs out of the room.
And again, very sudden, which is what I really like, how consistent 99 is being with this portrayal of Killua.
Yeah, and it's, it's something we talked about very recently in the Killua retrospective, just about how much of his portrayal of just like childhood trauma is, and this is a really good example of just how that can kind of just hit you whenever you're reminded of something. Super good. And he just kind of leaves to collect himself, and Anita is still there, and she also just leaves at that moment. It's very much just an Anita was also there kind of thing.
Yeah, she was like, well, you're definitely not getting Netero now, and he's also only using one leg and one arm, so have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also whenever that whole thing is brought up, the fact that he's only using his I don't know what, his right leg and right arm. I don't even know which.
Right leg, left arm, I think.
Oh, right leg, left arm. Okay.
Something like that. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really at all, but it's one of the two. So she goes back to her cell, and then the two of them are now one-on-one without a filler character and without Killua in the room.
And Gon's whole thing now is, of course, he wants to get Netero to use both of his arms and legs.
Yes. And, here's where I was expecting to just be like, oh, so it's a 1-to-1 adaptation from here on out.
Nope.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
So we have Killua, which another awesome scene here. He's like talking to himself. It's his, his basically split personalities essentially is what it is. It's the killer side and just normal Killua, and it's that classic thing with split personalities where the other personality is like in a reflection and talking to the reflection. That was so cool. I love that trope, and I loved it here too. It was really neat to see the two sides of him communicating with each other.
It really portrays that internal struggle very effectively. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sort of have a theory about that scene, but I'm not sure if it's true or not. For me, when I was watching your Killua retrospective with Sock Wars Central, I really loved Sock Wars, just his theme of the fact that the Nen needle from Illumi is constantly been a theme that he's trying to fight against. And for me, when I see that scene, always in the back of my head, I'm like, how much of this split personality Killua is him, and how much of that is the emotions that Illumi has planted in him? Because it's such a stark contrast. It almost feels unnatural.
No,
That's
yeah.
a good point.
Absolutely.
It's hard to say either way, too.
It really is.
Concrete confirmation.
I think that's probably very intentionally vague, kind of left to our own devices on that one. I mean, hey, it'd be cool if we got like a solid answer on that, but I kind of can't see it happening.
Yeah, never, actually. I don't know how they would ever tie back to that.
At this point. So yeah, that happens, and then a guy walks up behind him, and I don't even remember what he says, but Killua like almost kills him.
So this kind of jumping a little bit ahead, noting this anime and manga difference, but in the manga, it was two guys that approached him, and Killua just like murdered both of them straight up, I believe.
Yep.
Whereas here in the anime, it's just this one guy, and he just severely injures him. Like,
yeah, and they make it. They go out of their way to say, "Oh, I severely injured him." Like they gotta let you know he's not dead.
Killua did not kill, guys. Don't worry.
It makes me wonder if
manga.
they're gonna change the moment later in the tournament in the final phase.
Maybe it's not. I wouldn't be surprised at this point then. But yeah, like in the manga, he just straight up killed 2 dudes and it wasn't a problem.
He
So
sure did, yeah.
bit of a weird difference there.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, Anita also escapes from the guards that were taking her back to her cell.
I gotta say, that was the stupidest escape thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ridiculous.
Like, my shoes untied, give me a moment, and then somehow the guards fall for that? Like,
And they also get knocked out from that. Like, what did she even do?
they didn't. That's the thing. They didn't even show her doing anything. They just kind of fell over.
Fell to the ground. Like, I assumed she like pulled their legs and made them fall, but then they're also unconscious. I guess they hit their head on the wall. I don't know.
It was ridiculously
weird.
dumb.
It was, yeah, very weird. That did not work. But she's free, and she goes and sees Killua. And this would have been a more effective moment if the guy actually was dead, but he's not, and she just kind of sees Killua with his evil glare, with the guy knocked out beside him. And maybe we can at least infer that she thought he was dead there, so there's that. But
Yeah. Oh, this is where the Anita thing comes into play. I forget the name of it already. The transition slide.
the eye
whatever you
catch.
called it.
Eye catch.
Eye catch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it is. And then we have a complete tonal shift. Here's an interesting part of the episode.
So, remember how they were so good about removing the Netero scene from earlier and, kind of sexualizing Menchi? About that.
So we have a completely useless and dumb scene here where Leorio and Kurapika are trying to go talk to Menchi about Anita. To just like, I don't know, who cares? They're trying to, make her not whatever. The same thing Gon's doing, but
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to support their friend.
yeah. So they knock on her door. She doesn't answer, which, by the way, why wouldn't you? Like, she could have just said don't come in or something, but anyways, they knock, and Leorio opens the door, and presumably Menchi's naked. He's like, oh wow, humana.
He's like, he has like a total shock face. Like, it wasn't even
Yeah.
like a, And then, the door opens and you see Menchi with their hair down and in a towel. That's awesome.
I mean, Menchi with her hair down is an interesting thing. Like, I guess there's that. That's something you'll never see anywhere else. So
Yeah, there's that, I
sure.
guess.
I mean, she throws a knife at him, and then it's the classic anime thing, like, you idiot, and then chases him, and whatever.
You got it all wrong.
Yeah. The only thing I like about this scene is the Kurapika stuff, where he's like, I would never do that.
I am so innocent right now. Yeah.
I respect women.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, Menchi just kind of chases him down the hallway with a knife. So
In her towel still.
In her towel.
So that's that.
That's a scene.
It sure is a scene. It's one of the scenes of all time for sure.
I don't have anything else to say about it other than that it exists.
Yeah, only notable thing
I think
really
it's
is.
just something that.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I think it's just something that 99 does. It just, whenever things get really serious, it just artificially adds a sense of humor or a sense of, slice of life aspect to it. And just going back on the whole thing about Anita and Killua, I think they're sort of trying to create a parallel there by making them both, leave at the same time, and then both of them having these big moments at the same time. It's sort of made the two like Anita versus Killua and Gon versus Netero as a sort of, cliche 2 and 2, movies going from one to the other.
Yeah, it definitely does feel that way. It's giving both of our main characters a conflict. Well, all 4 of them a conflict, if you want to count Menchi as a conflict. So yeah,
You've got to count it as a conflict for Leorio.
Yeah, definitely. Poor Leorio, he got demolished. So back to the serious stuff. You know, classic revenge story here. She just faces down with Killua. He's like, I'm gonna kill you, yada yada, and Killua's just looking blankly because this is like absolutely nothing to him. Like, who cares? This is like an ant, basically. And we cut back already. Oh yeah, okay. So here's the yeah.
Yeah, so Leorio got fucked up by Menchi, to say the
his
least.
face is demolished. His handsome
And
face is ruined.
Kurapika is perfectly fine because he's innocent.
That's right. And then this is where my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what is going on right now? They see Gon like outside.
This part, I was like, whoa, what? So the ball catching game is moved to the outside of the ship
Somehow,
now.
I guess they just wanted to change the scenery. I don't even like why they come out here. But
A little dangerous, don't you think?
so they are there. And you know, we have the framing, like another classic trope. It's the two conflicts happening side by side. It's Killua fighting Anita and Gon with Netero. It's not much of a fight on Killua's end, I will admit. He's just kind of like
It's kind of in the shadows the entire
teleporting
time, right?
behind you. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just got that cold look on his face that we know very well at this point, and he pins her down, and he's got like, you know, what I assume would be, and if this was 2011, it would be like the finger claws coming out, but
Finger claws.
it's just a normal hand at her throat here, and
I kind of like the idea of I always thought the finger claws thing in 2011 was like really cool, but like I don't know, there's something about it just being a normal hand in 99 that makes it almost more terrifying to me, and it's really hard to describe. But I think it's just because that, like, you just know based off of his lineage that he could kill you with his bare hands, right?
yeah.
So like you don't really have to show like
Yeah.
mangled like screwed up nails to like really get that message across. I think even just the normal hand is like that's I don't know. It's
lethal
effective.
weapons.
Yeah, lethal weapons. Kind of a thing of like telling and not showing necessarily, but like I feel like you show more even with it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to describe.
No, I see
cool.
what you're saying, and I get it. I think it's pretty effective too. It is literally just telling you like, yeah, his hands are dangerous.
Yeah.
That's cool. So he sees Gon outside, and that's what kind of snaps him back to reality. And he doesn't end up killing her, but he does knock her out.
Yeah, he like gut punches her when
Yep.
she like tries to approach him again or something.
And then he goes to watch with Leorio and Kurapika, which, by the way, I think is kind of a cool addition, having Leorio and Kurapika watch this too. It doesn't really add a whole lot, but I like that they saw this. It's cool. So they finish up their fight. The only really like it changes here is just the fact that he goes like overboard for a second, and he uses the fishing rod to bring himself back up.
That was crazy.
It sure was, yeah. So yeah, that happens, and the game finishes like normal. He just he gets him to use both hands because he does the. Or is it after the? Now, when does it happen in this one? Is it after?
He brings himself back up. He does some kind of move, knocks the ball into the air, and
He kicks
Netero
him.
has to use.
Okay,
Yes,
yep, and then he
Netero
has to jump up and
like,
grab the ball. Yep.
He has to like go under him, and he uses both legs and arms to do so. And
Yes.
Gon's happy.
Yeah, different way to use his arms and legs, but he still did it.
Yeah.
And Gon is satisfied. He accomplished his task, even though that wasn't even the goal of the game. But that's all he wanted. He passes out because he's exhausted, and his friends just look on. And one of them actually literally says Gon is satisfied.
Gon is satisfied.
And that's all that really matters.
One thing I did like about this over-dramatification of this whole plot line is it really did feel like the finale of something, because we built up for it for a few episodes. The stakes were so ridiculously high. This almost did feel like a natural ending point towards this mini arc within the different exams.
Yeah, it's I guess it's kind of just a way to add like some kind of I don't know, bigger stakes, a grander conflict to this portion of the story, because you can kind of merge this and the second phase together.
Yeah.
and it's like a complete story, I suppose. Kind of, it's cool. I again, well, I'll talk about the Anita thing as a whole after we're done talking about it. So let's just get through that real quick. So the Anita thing wraps up with basically, I mean, obviously nobody really accomplished anything in regards to fighting for her here. Leorio and Kurapika failed with Menchi, and Gon failed with Netero. So that's that. So Netero talks to her real quick before, before the Gon scene with telling the pilot to slow down. What even happens in this conversation? I'm just kind of looking at it.
He's just like, you were watching the clouds, right? The clouds are beautiful.
Yeah.
They just had a little moment there. He walked past the guy who got screwed up by Killua. Yeah, he's literally like the guy from SpongeBob where he's like broken everything.
Yeah.
That dude is not making it in the next phase.
No.
Poor guy.
And yeah, tells the pilot to slow down. Yeah, that scene actually kind of wasn't much of anything. It's really just a little moment between the two. Nice enough.
He read like we need another minute or so to fill the episode, so let's just add this. That's what I read as.
Yeah, it's nothing too substantial. So
I like how charming this version of Netero is, though. It feels like he's much more comedic and much more involved in the story, and I feel that it sort of makes us more attached to him as a character. Whilst in 2011, it really was the Chimera Ant arc which really got us hooked.
Yeah, and I would say that's the case for the manga as well. It's because he doesn't have much of a presence in the manga. I would say it's comparable to how it is in 2011.
No, I'm thinking back to my experience in 2011, and my first time watching it, especially going through this part, I thought Netero was cool. Obviously, he had something to him, but they didn't present much of a character for him. I thought, at least on my first impression, and I feel like there's a little bit more stuff to kind of attach to here in 99's adaptation, which is pretty cool. And that scene does kind of contribute to that to some degree as well. Just kind of walking up to Anita, just striking the conversation. He's perfectly human as well, you know?
Yeah. It's just more time with Netero, which is cool. It's a shame we won't really see much more of him in this adaptation, unless there's some filler stuff with him, I guess. But
unfortunately.
So wrapping up here, they land on Trick Tower, or at least what we know is Trick Tower with our future knowledge. And we have our goodbye with Anita, where Killua gives her the earring, and it's revealed to us and to her that this is a crystal of spice rock, which is, I guess, a drug.
And this is basically just them referencing crack. In the world.
Her dad was a crack dealer.
Her dad was a crack dealer. Yeah, a spice rock that is highly addictive once you taste it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's an interesting concept to make that into an earring for your daughter. Interesting guy.
The whole thing, though, was that Killua was obviously that was some bad stuff, and your father was up to some bad stuff, and the assassins were hired because he was not liked. He had to go.
Yeah. So she's bummed out. Her entire world just collapsed, basically. Everything she was fighting for is kind of null and void.
And then immediately as she's trying to deal with that, Gon walks up to her and is just like, you should take the exam next year.
Yeah.
I love how it shows just how disconnected Gon is.
Yeah.
And how much Gon just in a totally mental sphere in the other planets.
Yeah. He's on a whole other world.
Yeah. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He is. Yeah. So I guess she will be allowed to participate. Not like it matters. We're never going to see her again, but I guess that's dropped.
Even if she did participate, Killua beat everybody up. So.
And that'd be cool if we see her again in that scene later. I doubt anime filler never really does that, but hey, maybe.
Maybe, we'll see.
We'll see. So, Trick Tower, we're here. I'm not gonna bother talking about it too much here because we're probably gonna talk about this same exact scene next time. But You know, they explain it. You got to reach the bottom in 72 hours. We know what Trick Tower is. Beans explains it, which is that the case in the manga? Let me look right now. I don't know.
Good question, actually. I don't know.
Beans does not appear to be present. No. Oh wait.
Well.
Nope. He's there. Never mind.
Beans is there. Okay.
Wow, look at this cursed ass Tompa here.
Oh my god.
That is so bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah, the episode ends with like teasing some figures and some cloaks, and that's it.
Yeah, I wonder who those guys are. One of them's blue, I think. So that's that. That's our batch of episodes here, episodes 10 through 12. So let's go around the room here. Let's start with Hadriegon. What are your thoughts on these 3 episodes?
I thought that those 3 episodes were very strong. I felt like the pacing maybe was a bit all over the place, but so it had some low moments, but for the most part, I thought it was a very consistent level of quality. I like how it really touched on many different characters. As you both said in the past episodes, you said, Hanzo's getting a lot of love, so it was good to see that, continue. It was good to see, the retrospective of everyone just recontextualizing the Hisoka moments of, this whole time, Menchi was actually just annoyed because she was creeped out by Hisoka. So I thought that was sort of funny. And I really just liked what this does for Killua's character. I think that at this point in the story, Killua's character arc is actually more engaging than in 2011. Mm-hmm. That might be a bit controversial, but I think overall, for Gon and Killua's characters in particular, this was a great character building stage. So I say it's good. I don't think it's the best so far. I think the first, 3 episodes of 99 are probably better still for me, but I really enjoyed these.
Yeah. How about you, Dylan?
I feel pretty similarly, actually. This was a good batch, I thought. And I thought although the Anita stuff and anime-only scenes were probably objectively unnecessary, right? And, there's definitely some lows in terms of pacing or just some, like, random, cutaway scenes, essentially, that kind of detracted from the more emotional ones, or, like, the scenes that were building tension, almost. I think it was really good all around for building Gon and Killua's characters, specifically. And it was a really good showcase of Killua, especially, and, just kind of the turmoils he has at this point in the series. And it was a really good depiction of that, I think. 99 did a fantastic job of kind of presenting those scenes in the context that it did. And, although I still think I prefer some of the earlier episodes overall in terms of if we're kind of ranking, like, batches of episodes, I still think this was a really enjoyable one, and I can't wait to see what Trick Tower has to offer. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I feel pretty similarly to both of you. I really like what you said, Hadriegon, about Killua being, you liking his character arc more in this adaptation compared to 2011, at least at this point of the story. And I completely agree, because there's just so much more focus being put on it here, and it's a lot more to the forefront, which I really like. Like, these 2 episodes, I'll say, are Killua focused first and foremost. You can say it's split with Gon, but I think Killua was definitely like the shining star here. And it's just a super solid way to get us indoctrinated into his story, compared to how 2011 handles it, where it's a slow burn in 2011. But here you kind of hit the ground running with it. You know his whole shtick by now. And I'm really curious to see how that extends into Trick Tower with the moments he'll have there. So, yeah, really solid batch. Definitely my second favorite. Like you said, 1 through 3 is still the top for me. But this was pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think, is anybody else have anything else to say before we see what our commenters had to say?
I'm ready to go into the comments, personally. I think we've hit everything that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Likewise.
All right, then let's see what you guys had to say about it.
Okay, now's the time of the episode where we go over community comments. I have to be up front with you guys to start off with, though. If you were looking out for a Twitter call-out post this week, oops, my bad. It's been a chaotic week.
For shame.
I know. Flame me in the comments if you must. But I forgot to put up a Twitter call out post this week for episodes 10 through 12, so that's my bad, guys. So there won't be any Twitter comments this week. Granted, I think last time we didn't receive any Twitter comments on the call out post. I could be mistaken in misremembering. My bad on that if that's the case as well. But yeah, I'll be better going forward. Sorry, guys. But they still were put up on Bluesky and the YouTube community posts, so we will be reading from those today. Well, not Bluesky, because I don't think Bluesky got anything, unfortunately.
Of course not.
But that just segues into my usual reminder that if you want to get in on the fun with discussing any topics week to week on this podcast, be sure to keep an eye out for the YouTube community posts or Bluesky and Twitter call-out posts. And of course, if you're an audio-only listener, you can always email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. And if you somehow know the topic ahead of time, I guess you could leave a Spotify comment now as well. But can't guarantee those necessarily. So yeah, those are all of your options. Let's go ahead and get into it for this week. So first up, we actually have another email to read from Liam. And as with last time, we'll be sure to censor out the email. Don't worry. Saying, "Hi, Kaige and Dylan. How are you guys doing? I would like to say thank you for making this podcast about my favorite anime series. It was given to me from my sister as a suggestion. Also, it is my first and favorite anime. I'm sorry if I don't have a theory. I'm not great at making any. Hey, we're not either. Don't worry. But I'm not great at making any, but I love to hear other people's theories, so thank you so much for giving me someone to listen to. None of my friends want to watch Hunter x Hunter. The one friend that did said it was bad, but they didn't even make it to the gourmet part of the Hunter exams. I hope you guys have a good week." That's so sad. Yeah.
Hey, honestly though, that was me the first time I watched it.
That was you.
That was like literally. Well, actually, no. I got to the Netero part on my first watch through.
Okay, so like one episode later. Okay.
Yeah. So I made it slightly past him.
Yeah, Kaige is much better, obviously, with that. But yes. I mean, it's not the most uncommon situation, unfortunately, with Hunter x Hunter, I think, because it's just a totally different series at the beginning than what it develops into later.
Oh, yeah.
But glad we can provide content for you to watch nonetheless and listen to. Thank you.
Yes.
Also follows up and says, "My favorite character is in between Killua or Meruem. My favorite arc is Yorknu because it shows all the main characters and more of the Phantom Troop. Sorry if I don't go into detail about that. No worries. And respectable picks nonetheless."
Absolutely, yeah. I always love to see a Yorknu as somebody's favorite. That's always cool. I love Yorknu too, but Chimera Ant just takes the cake. But yeah, I mean that's a very respectable pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the email though. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. Send us more emails. We enjoy getting those. They're nice surprises.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, and next comes from Xander. And hey, before we even start this, I want to just give a shout out to everybody who is watching along with us. We know this isn't like something that everybody can do. These are, lesser viewed videos, and we understand that. But thank you to all the people that do watch along with us and comment. It's really fun to do this.
Yeah, so, even if it's just a couple people, like it's a ton of fun, and we're glad to have some amount of people along for the ride with us. It's been great so far.
Absolutely. And Xander is included in that. You jumped in just for this, actually, and you're here to stay, it looks like, so thank you. And thank you again for showing me how to watch the fan remaster. So he says, "I keep enjoying Menchi a lot in this adaptation. A lot of her scenes weren't in the 2011 adaptation, so it's refreshing to see her. There's a few extra scenes, like always, for example, Gon randomly taking the telephone from Menchi. I prefer her with red/pink hair and fishnets, like you guys said in the last episode. Yeah. Her design in this version is pretty much a 1-to-1 of her manga design. In the color page Togashi did, she had the same hair color. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Good confirmation.
Yeah. No idea why the 2011 anime made her hair blue and removed the fishnet, but it's interesting how 99 is more faithful in some ways. For the fishnets, I assume it's just easier to animate the plain clear shirt, even though it's really weird looking. Yeah, whatever that is, yeah.
I guess it's more like a sheer top. I don't know.
I guess. I wouldn't really know.
Either way, animation is probably the reason why.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah.
Fleshy Beans is so cursed, LMAO. Yeah, he really is. That's gonna take some getting used to.
It'll be in my nightmares for sure.
We were exposed to him before from one of the video games we played on stream that one time, but
Yeah, that was just as terrifying.
it sure was. It was like a jump scare.
I didn't even process it as beans initially. I was like, who is this?
We had a different scene here where Todo tries to screw over Gon that wasn't in the manga or the 2011 version. I already disliked the guy as it is. The scene didn't help his case, lol, but it's funny that the egg was so good that it completely changed his attitudes towards gourmet hunters. Yeah, that was a good addition, actually. Well, good and bad. I actually like Todo in a weird way. Like, I think I like his character arc, I guess is how I should say it. It's just satisfying to watch happen. Mm-hmm. Also love the gag of Buhara helping the contestants with the egg boiling time, and Menchi getting mad at him. He is such a bro. He def did it on purpose, yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Episode 11. I don't remember if the scene of Hisoka building a house of cards and then laughing as it falls apart was in the manga or in 2011. It was in the manga. I actually checked that before recording. Or actually, he might not have laughed. Let me go back and look real quick. I can find that very quickly. It was right at the beginning here. I mean, it doesn't really matter if he didn't laugh. That's not like the biggest thing in the world, but the card thing. No, yeah, it happens exactly as it does. He laughs and the cards fall.
Yep. That is a little laugh, like, heh.
Yep. Oh god, where was I? I lost my place. In this adaptation, Hisoka is a straight up psychopath and he doesn't even hide it. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Was that last episode? Maybe the one before it? One of the two.
Yeah, like he sounds a lot more like eccentric in 2011, but I noted that in 99 he sounds a lot more like someone who just escaped a psych ward. Like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of the best way I can put it.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about the filler section of the girl trying to avenge her father. It's not bad, but it feels a bit too on the nose that as soon as Killua reveals his family's occupation, she conveniently shows up to show the audience that killing is bad. Yeah, that's a pessimistic way to look at it, but I suppose you are right. Why couldn't she do something before she got eliminated? Okay, this part actually, yeah, like she could have done this at any point.
She was in the prior phases, so why didn't she make a move during any of that?
I don't know. Maybe she was planning to do something like at the end of the exam, and because she failed, she was like, okay, well, let's just sneak on and do this now.
But like, she's clearly capable, considering she infiltrated an airship mid-flight. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty impressive if you ask me. Like, she couldn't have done anything during like the running part. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I guess it's also a question of when she failed. Oh, sorry, Hadriegon, go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's just this whole aspect of her and her fear. We see that a lot with Killua, where she's completely hesitating and she's completely just broken mentally. And we got that resolution at the end where she just couldn't even get herself to stand up. She was just so tormented. I just couldn't imagine her jumping, into the abyss. I feel like that's, sort of why we didn't see her. She's just playing it safe the entire time.
That's
okay.
That's good, actually. Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, that makes more sense in my head then. Okay.
He goes on and says, before she got eliminated, instead of somehow infiltrating a blimp while in midair. And yes, I checked. The blimp was already well above ground while she was infiltrating. Yeah, it definitely was. What makes me dislike this is also the fact that it replaces the scene of Killua killing those random dudes after getting frustrated in the Netero Ball game. It gives a completely different idea of his character, IMO. Different, but not worse, I would say. But anyways, he goes on and says, at this point, he should still give in to his killer instincts. It makes his character development a little less impactful. I gotta see how it plays out the rest of the way, because I haven't seen 99, so I don't know how that continues.
I think Trick Tower and the events that happen in there is going to be very telling of like how that's presented going forward. So like I'm going to withhold my full judgment on that for now until we see more.
Yeah. And of course, at the end, they reveal that the father of that girl that was killed was most likely a piece of shit. So fuck her for wanting to take revenge, I guess. Yeah, you're not wrong. Turns out the Zoldycks did the right thing after all. LOL. What was even the point of that?
Not an invalid point, actually.
Yeah, you're really not
kind
wrong.
of a roundabout conflict.
It really is.
Huh.
Also,
Okay.
how would she even know a Zoldyck was at the hunter exam to begin with? Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because she literally says, I heard a rumor there would be a Zoldyck at this year's hunter exam.
From who?
How? Who would have said that? I guess maybe like...
Me?
Yeah, maybe Elamy was just trolling. Put out a newspaper ad. Hey, my brother's going to be in the hunter exam this year.
Honestly, not even out of the question, if I'm being completely real. So, who knows?
Not even Elamy knew that Killua was there. It was a happy surprise for him. True.
Oh, wait, never mind, you're right. Yeah, so who... Okay, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make a lick of sense, but, you know, it happened. So, when it comes to tracking skills, Filler Girl over Elamy? I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. I can't really argue
you're
against it.
Anita stocks.
Yeah. I guess one good thing I can say about her is that I like her design. For a filler character design, she's definitely better than those monstrosity we've seen in the movies. Oh my god.
That's true. Her design was, like, not bad, actually. It seemed like it fit.
Yeah, definitely fit more than any of the movie guys.
Yeah.
What was the Phantom Rouge villain name? I already forgot.
Oh my gosh. Dude, have we reached the point where we're finally forgetting about these
Maybe.
movies? Oh my gosh.
I
I
can't
kind of don't want to
remember
look them up.
But you're so forgettable. It's
Yeah,
actually
let's-
ridiculous.
Let's just, oh, was it Omokage? It just came to me. Damn it.
Oh,
it
Kaige.
was
Omokage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Phantom Rouge at least still lives on in our minds, guys.
A little bit. It's lingering. And the idea of a character wanting to take revenge on the Zoldycks and targeting Killua isn't a bad idea, but I wasn't a big fan of the execution. Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. I think there's stuff to do there. And I don't know. I thought it was an okay execution. It wasn't perfect, but
No,
I
wasn't
enjoyed
perfect by
watching
any
it.
means. It could have been much worse. That's
yeah.
kind of my perspective on it. It could have been much, much worse.
yeah, that could have been awful, but wasn't a total train wreck.
Yeah, they did okay.
Episode 12, a Menchi fan service scene out of nowhere, lol. Never seen her
Yeah.
with her hair down, so that was cool. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said. That's like the one notable thing.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's also realistic that she'd think Leorio is the pervert and not Kurapika. Also, I'd like to note that they both had literally no reason whatsoever to go to a room. That's exactly what I said. Why?
But this is the fault on everybody's account. She didn't say a word when the door was knocked. Leorio opened the door when there was no answer to begin with. Like, everybody screwed up here.
This whole thing could have been easily prevented. I think this literally happened so that they could show us Menchi in a bathrobe, lol.
Yes.
I mean, I'm definitely not complaining, but it didn't make much sense.
All right, well, let's take it easy.
So,
Yeah, chill now. Chill in these comments.
They said it was to ask her to not be too hard on the stowaway girl, but like, what authority does Menchi have when it comes to that? Shouldn't they ask Netero? Yeah.
What was
so
Menchi
right.
gonna do?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so that entire scene was literally only to show Menchi in a towel. That's it. That was the only
that was
purpose.
it. That was
It's pure fan service.
Also, I don't know if you guys got my email, but I'm the guy who sent the links to the remastered version. Yep, we got it, and thank you so much. It's really well made, so I think you guys will have a blast watching that version. It really does show the justice that hand-drawn animation can look real stunning. 100%. Yep. Thank you so much again.
I'll definitely be turning to that as my main way to watch, starting with the next episode of discussing 99.
Yes.
So, looking forward to it.
Yes, and thank you again, Xander. We always love to hear from you, and looking forward to doing the rest of this thing with you. All right, Hadriegon, you want to take Issa's?
yes, Issa says, I love the scene where Gon and Netero continue the match on the wing of the plane. Very awesome, but also very bad on Netero's side, XD. Let's have our match very high in the sky while flying on the wing of the plane. Let's go. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. It's one of those things that feels so out of place. Everything's just been used sort of, very neutral, and, things are starting to get into a rhythmic pace, and then all of a sudden, they're just like flying, just Gon just falling off the ship. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's
Also, barely like misses the propellers that are like flying, spinning at like 1,000,000 miles an hour too. Like he could have died there.
there was always technically a risk of death with that game, just because I mean there was the headbutt thing, right? Like if you headbutted him a second time, he actually would have cracked his head open. But,
Oh yeah, because Netero even like thought to himself like, if he hits me like and I brace myself, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
if I don't brace myself, I'm gonna hurt real bad.
Yeah. But then this adds also, oh yeah, you could fall off and die. So it's just like, wow, we just made this thing extreme. And I guess
it's crazy.
looking back, I guess the reason for doing that was so that there could be that moment where Killua sees Gon. Because
Yeah.
I mean, they also could have just like added a window to the room, but whatever. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It happened this way, and it's fine. I don't know. It's just whatever. Just a change of scenery.
I mean, I do appreciate the tension that it kind of
Yeah.
added, just like moving it to the outside, as simple as the change as that is. Like, I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
No, I don't mind it really. It's just a random change. It definitely caught me off guard. I was not ready for that.
It caught all of us off guard, I'm pretty sure.
Gon is the next Spider-Man. He's mastered the fishing rod. He doesn't even need the plane. He could have just got in there himself.
He really could have.
I'd believe it, to be honest. All right, and then one final comment. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you know him well. It's insert name. He says, "My boy's Fleshy Beans makes an appearance." Yes, he does.
He sure
and
does.
he'll continue to make an appearance in my nightmares going forward. I find it interesting how 2011 and 1999 both expand the second phase. It makes sense to expand it into a more complete plot line, as it's really short in the manga. And yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier, how like it's supposed to be just a really short, brisk like pace of a phase, right? And I feel like 99 definitely presented it as such compared to 2011. I don't particularly have a preference between the whole air vent thing and going to save someone during the test, but I do think it's an interesting insight into the priorities of the shows. 2011 actively shows people falling to their doom for failing the test, raising the tension to the test, and further showcases Gon's exceptional senses. It's part of a larger push towards pressing Gon as the exceptional individual in 2011, like having him be the first out of the tunnel, basically determining the Spider Eagle test with his nose, etc. He was the first one out of the tunnel in 2011, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I forgot about that. Huh.
Yeah.
It's especially noticeable compared to 1999, which makes an intentional choice to emphasize Gon's exceptionalism. Though that does kind of require a whole arc perspective. 1999, on the other hand, has a much more positive perception of the goals of the hunter and seems to be prioritizing Gon's positivity. 1999 has always been more focused on the interpersonal side of things, and I think it's part of deliberate comparative to Killua. I do think it falls short when Gon literally left a guy in the hallucination cave like a couple episodes ago.
So true. Poor Nicholas.
Yeah, wait a minute. Well, he like crawled out of the hallucination tunnel himself, though, right? If we're being technical here.
I'm
pretty
how
sure he
far
did.
does it? How far do like the fumes go? That's the question.
I think he crawled back to like where they originally entered from, while the rest of them just kind of like blew up the walls and went forward, right? I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. But I do think it's demonstrative of the mentality the creators took. And yeah, I definitely see your point there. They're definitely pushing more towards showcasing Gon's just like positive attitude and light, rather than just like him being skilled at literally everything on this planet. When Machi is dealing with the bear, it's so dark, it's like a void of black on the screen. Yeah.
No, I said that too. Yeah.
99 for you.
Yep.
As for episodes 11 and 12, I've never been a fan of this section. There are worse sections, but I generally skip this. There are worse episodes, but I don't know, this section just rubs me the wrong way. The whole filler plot generally doesn't excite me and only serves to ruin the pacing of the ball game by interjecting itself into this part of the story. I don't like how it takes the game from a stakeless expression of pure fun and challenge into something that ostensibly has an effect that even the characters involved don't seem to care about. It doesn't let you sit in the challenge and shifts focus away from the action, preventing you from getting immersed. Not to mention, I just don't like how dark the game is, nor removing rhythm echo and replacing it with generally fading in the darkness. Oh yeah, that was the thing where like Killua did something different.
So okay, so that was just an outright replacement. Like there will be an actual rhythm echo later on. I thought that was just how they drew rhythm echo in this.
No, yeah. So Hunterpedia made specific mention of this as well, and maybe I should have been more clear on that. Like, this is not rhythm echo.
Oh,
this is just something completely different.
Oh wow, I didn't see it. Okay, wow, that changes my whole view on that. Then I thought that was just how 99 was doing rhythm echo.
No, this is just him fading into darkness. It doesn't even have a name.
That is so weird.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's a little weird for sure. Also, no clue why and how they end up in the open, nor why Gon is using his fishing rod. Yeah,
well,
wait. That's kind of happened. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. But it happened.
Questions there. But, okay, I see your points, though, with episodes 11 and 12. I think I'm less harsh on it than you are, for sure. But I definitely see your points, and it kind of, like, affecting the pacing and just the overall immersion of the game. I can see your point.
Yeah, I agree for the most part, but I guess I'm just a little less hard on it. I do really don't like how the filler stuff is intertwined with it. It kind of bugs me, at least for the ball part. But it's not the worst thing in the world. I think it's, it's still watchable, obviously.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that the more you really look into it, the more it sort of falls apart. Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of other things in 99 where you just can't really think about it too much. When you just, take a step back, it's less bad. When you're really analytical on it like this, it really doesn't stand still and it creates lots of plot holes.
Yeah, and that can probably be applied to a lot of the filler we've already saw and enjoyed. It can definitely be applied to the, the Killua bomb stuff and all that, but you could probably poke a lot of holes in the Leorio filler episode 2. I mean, we did. Just the fact that Whale Island is drastically expanded is a little distracting, but you just gotta roll with it, I guess. It's different.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the effect as well of like just filler in general, just like anime specific scenes, because like obviously it's not like the original author's like direct vision, mm-hmm. From that point. Like there's stuff added that obviously wasn't really at the forefront of the author's mind at the time, right? In this case, Tagashi. So like it's very easily it's more easily picked apart in those circumstances, just because like it's obviously new and not really the intended direction. So like mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to really make that coexist with like the with what was established beforehand. So that's just unfortunate, but like for what it is specifically, I think it's perfectly serviceable. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's get to the rest of this comment. Yeah. Hunter security sucks, I guess. Not only do they let her get on the ship, but she takes some of them out. Really bad hunters, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tie my shoes real quick, guys. Menchi saying Hisoka was the one that riled her up runs hollow. He doesn't even appear in a scene with her, and he's over by the river for like half the episode prior. That's true. Wait.
He just has that much aura, bro. You don't get it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's all he did. He showed up. He tried cooking some sushi. He failed, but like it impressed her still, within her psyche. And then he just went and sat by the river. He knew like he was in already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I get you though. That's very funny. How do you lose an earring to a potted plant?
I like how you think.
I'd like. This is just Caige's alt account at this point. Cage
hey, don't expose me.
I choose to imagine Killua was hired to disrupt the spice flow of Araki's through assassination. So, well, unfortunately, it was confirmed by Killua himself that he was not the one involved in that. But imagine how you will. Mm-hmm. Really dislike Killua off-screening a guy instead of including one of the coldest scenes in the series where he just lets go and starts murdering on the ship. Also, he murders that guy but doesn't murder the lady because Gon would be sad. Seems hypocritical.
No, he didn't actually kill the guy, so...
Yeah, he was bandaged up, and Killua specifically said as well, like, he's too much in pain to pass out. The fear of death will get him or whatever. So, like, he didn't die. You didn't kill him.
I guess maybe he would have died, but I don't know. He was saved.
But he was bandaged up, like as shown with the Netero and
Yeah.
Anita scene. So like, I do get
My
you though.
interpretation.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, my interpretation of that whole scene about how Killua was able to finish off that person but not Anita is that throughout this episode they're sort of playing in the theme that Gon and Killua are mentally linked. Like you had all these scenes of Gon saying, "Well, I just know, I've got a feeling that you're telling the truth," and then Killua's there's like got a feeling that Gon's in trouble, so he just says, "Oh, you know," he suddenly starts thinking of Gon and realizes, "Oh, I shouldn't kill her." So I see what insert name means. But I think it's more so just the direction that 99's taking, that, you know, it's not done to perfect execution. You've got moments where Killua, the character, physically comes to realizations, so it makes a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with your take on that as well. 'Cause it just kind of further showcases the whole back and forth between his instincts versus what he knows, like, to actually be, like, right? In this case, it was he kind of let go for a second, was close to killing that guy, but then once he got back to his senses and, you know, Gon was getting involved and whatnot, he kind of was like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't kill her, you know? It's just, it's Killua's inner struggles at work just being showcased there.
Yeah, and I also think it's a really good showcase, like an early showcase of that, of establishing that Gon is Killua's anchor. Like, because you see it right there. Like, it's just, Gon is what snaps him back to reality there. And I think that's pretty effective.
Yeah. I do agree, though, that, like, you know, especially seeing that panel from the manga itself,
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of crazy that they cut that out. That's such a hard panel.
Yeah.
But, oh well, it is what it is, I suppose. In the dub, Killua is voiced by a woman. Not usually a problem for kid characters, but there's one scene where Killua is reaching forward towards the ball and just moans, and it very distinctly doesn't sound like a child. Was looking away and had the double take.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna look that up on my own time at some point just to see what you mean by that. That could be very funny.
Yeah.
I'll report back next episode.
Is the dub report back next time? Insert name. Is the dub good? I'm curious. I've never heard anything about
The
it.
dub is actually pretty good.
Is it?
It's actually good.
Okay. Oh, you've watched the dub.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I'd say it's better than 2011, but it's not like that good. It's sort of like most voices are good, but there's a few voices for me gone that just don't sound right. So, you know, it's a bit like give and take.
Mm-hmm. And going to somebody you'll be hearing a lot too. So, like, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah. Hey, Hadriegon, when did you first watch 99?
I first watched it in 2019, just due to the drought of not having any Hunter x Hunter. But, you know, it's one of those things that I'm sure you guys are probably going to feel it too, is that as soon as you watch it, it just immediately feels nostalgic, just due to that old 90s vibe. So it's always just like a sweet, comfort watch.
Okay, yeah.
So, because I know you're a Naruto fan, was it jarring for you too that Gon was voiced by Junko Takeuchi?
You know, not too much, just because like I'd seen that before, the overlays of different animes, just the different voice actors. But, you know, it does certainly feel, I'd say it actually feels good, because you sort of feel like a certain comfort towards it. But sometimes you feel a bit out of place.
Yeah, I just like, for me, a lot of the time I just hear Naruto and I'm looking at Gon, so my brain is like doing cartwheels. It's, I don't know, it's just really interesting. I'm sure I will get, I mean, I'm used to it in a way, but it's still just that I get that mental disconnect sometimes because of that association with the voice.
The advantage I get from never watching Naruto. Love to see it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That does it for all the comments for this week's episode, though. Thank you to everybody that wrote in for it. And usual reminder as well, if you want to get in on the action here on this podcast, and keep up with our weekly topics, be sure to keep an eye out for YouTube community posts, as well as call-out posts on Twitter and Bluesky. And, of course, you can always email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com.
That's correct. And with that, guys, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms, as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and also comment on Spotify, I guess. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod, for updates on the show and as an alternative way to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. As always, we provided... wait, nope, that's wrong. That's the intro. As always, we'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Hadriegon, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've wanted you on for so long. We finally got you. Where can people find you online and your videos?
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be on such an amazing podcast for Hunter x Hunter. And for me, you can find me on both YouTube and Twitter at Hadriegon.
All right, and please do check him out. He's got some great stuff.
Fantastic content. Definitely go give him a shout.
Yes. And Dylan, where can people find you?
You can find me online on Twitter and Bluesky at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN. I haven't been up to a whole lot lately. New One Piece card game set came out, and I've been kind of obsessed with the card game again, so I've been posting a lot about that. If you're interested in that, go check me out.
Are you into One Piece, Hadriegon?
I'm not caught up yet, but
Okay.
I love One Piece. And that's one thing that's surprising is I didn't catch a One Piece reference this episode from Dylan.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't keep up the stream. I'm so sorry, guys. I dropped the ball
right.
this week on a bunch of different fronts.
There was a lot of opportunities, too, honestly.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to see it. Oh well, it is what it is. I'll make up for it next week. Don't worry.
Okay. And well, I was gonna say speaking of next week, that would have been a great transition, but I have to plug my Twitter first. I don't have Twitter, but I have a Bluesky, and that is Kaige10. That's KAIIGE10. You can follow me there and see me post like once a week or something.
Something like that.
All right, so then now actually next week we are having an interesting little thing happen here. We won't have an episode on Sunday, but we will have one on Tuesday, the Tuesday after that Sunday. No particular reason,
No, none at all.
So
just casual. We just needed to delay the episode.
yeah, just
Some
a
life
few things
events,
going
you
on,
know.
so it'll be on
Yeah.
Tuesday instead of Sunday, and
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really figured out what we're doing yet. It doesn't really matter. We'll probably just wing it. Doesn't really matter. Just whatever. Who cares?
Just keep an eye out next week. Just keep an
Yeah.
eye out.
It'll be something. Yep.
Do we want to talk about what's going on after that, though?
Yes. So, okay. Interestingly, we are doing Gon. Obviously, that'll be the character retrospective next month, because we've been doing the main four. Obviously, Gon is next, but he's huge. Gon is big, and we learned from the Killua retrospective that we can talk for a while about big characters, and Gon is the biggest. And we don't want this episode to be absurdly long. I honestly, in my head, I feel like it would be like a 6-hour long episode if we did the whole story. So, no thank you. But we are going to split it in half. So, next month, on the 6th, we will have the part 1 of Gon's retrospective, which will be... We haven't exactly figured out the split yet. I'm thinking we'll talk about like up to up to Greed Island, or maybe Chimera Ant will be its own... part 2, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Either way, it needs to be 2 parts if we don't want to have like a 4-hour long episode.
Yes, and then we will, return with Gon part 2 at the beginning of the following month with a highly requested returning guest. So,
Yep.
Look forward to that.
Those are the plans for now, and
Yep.
then the usual 99 episodes weaved in between.
Yes, and with Hadriegon here, we would like to get him back on more often for to discuss 99 anytime he wants to. Really, we'll try to get some stuff going, and we'll have him as on the regular rotation for this series. All right.
Thank you. I'd love to be on. It's really such a treat to be with you guys.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely, man. I feel the same. Talking about Hunter x Hunter with anybody is always a treat.
Definitely. Enjoy this.
That's right. All right, so we will see you on April 1st for no particular reason, and
For no particular reason.
and we will see you guys then. Thanks for watching.
Have a good one, guys. See you next week.
And you said you did watch the ED, Dylan?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. We finally
That's
did it.
great. You guys managed to do it.
Yeah. I was wondering how long it would take for us to finally get through it.
It's been a while coming.
It has been, yeah. Okay. Do you want to start off with talking about that, Dylan, or do you want to wait till like the end?
If we're gonna talk about it, we probably should start with it, just to get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way. Yeah. Can't risk forgetting again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And then maybe talk about that after, shouting out Xander
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
All right, everybody ready?